Hello and welcome back to All About Community. As I indicated when we went to break, I was speaking with Malia Cohn, who is a candidate for the state controller right here in this great state of California. And Malia was explaining some of the functions of a controller.
Yes, yes.
And continue with that.
Thank you. So the state controller, she sits on 78 boards and commissions, and I want to note that our current controller is a woman. You could say it's a Freudian slip that I do use that pronoun because I do aspire to be the next state controller.
And you will be the first Black.
Yes. Yes. So the controller, what she does is she disperses the state tax dollars. So anything that has to do with spending, the controller signs those checks, whether we're talking about retirement checks, whether we're talking about investments, whether we're talking about grants, you name it. And so it's a pretty prominent role. So she's sitting on CalPERS and CalSTRS, the largest pension fund in the world, but you're also sitting on the State Lands Commission. So you have a role in environmental policy. So it's a pretty awesome responsibility. The controller chairs the Franchise Tax Board, and as you know, that's where you write your taxes.
That's
those
true.
That are in business.
I hate writing those checks,
but it's
I'm
important.
gonna feel better now. I'm gonna feel better because I know when I write that check, Malia's going to be overlooking it.
I'll be overlooking it, but here's something you can look forward to.
What's that?
Is when you get your tax return, your state tax return, it'll be my signature on that check.
Oh, isn't that great?
so that might be something to celebrate. And so the controller is an important function in our state government, and I will, if successful, be the fifth African American elected to this position outright for the state of California. First was Wilson Riles, second was Merv Dimely, third was Kamala Harris, fourth was Tony Thurmond, and I will be the fifth.
Fifth statewide.
That's right, defeating that notion that blacks can't get elected statewide in statewide positions.
And statewide, I believe we're only about 6% of the population.
That's right. That's why it's quite a feat.
It's unbelievable when you look at Mississippi and some of these other states with huge Black populations and can't get anybody elected.
That's very true.
So that is a great testimony to you. Now let's talk for a moment about California is the fifth largest economy in the whole wide world. Is that correct?
Well, wait, I got an update.
Update.
Just as of yesterday, the governor was reported, there were news reports that now California has surpassed Germany, and we are now the fourth largest economy in the world. Now, this is just breaking news. This was just as of yesterday, so no fault of your own on that one.
Now, how will you address the fairness and equity?
Oh. Yeah. So when we're talking about fairness and equity, it's really about how the tax dollars are broken up and where they're spent. I don't want to see an over-proliferation of tax dollars being spent when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to correctional facilities. Remember, those are tax dollars that are paying the salary and the overall running of these facilities. Now, I'm not advocating defunding the police. That's not my position or my platform at all. What I'm saying is that we're going to be taking a careful look on how we are spending money, who we're spending our money with, and how much these entities are getting. The greatest power that the controller has is the power to audit. And you are a businessman, you know from your PG&E days how important audits are. Audits will tell you a lot. It will reveal a lot. And so the legislature sets a budget, but I would be able to come in and audit to make sure that money is being spent.
You have auditors under your supervision.
Thousands of them. Or maybe I should say hundreds, but yeah.
How many people are in approximately in the controller's office?
About 2,500 employees.
2,500?
It's a large operation, yes. You got auditors, you have accountants, you have IT personnel, of course you have the administrative side of things, you have people that are managing the payroll system, that are managing vendors and payments. So it's a pretty complex operation, which is why I think, just going back to your earlier question, why I do think that I'm best suited for this is having that statewide presence, being an elected official, coming from San Francisco, managing the budgets and understanding, serving on the budget and audit committee. All this information is not new to me. My opponent in this race has never held elected office, has never took in a public position on anything.
Yeah, I don't even know who your opponent is, and I don't even want to know. All I know is he ain't qualified. Only you are qualified, in my opinion, for this office.
I appreciate that opinion.
Now, what role does a does a controller's office play in affordable housing, if any?
Oh, yeah. And a very important role.
Okay.
You see, affordable housing developers, what they do is they'll put it together an application, a package to say, hey, state of California, give me some tax dollars. If you give me some tax dollars, I'm going to go build this project in whatever part of the state of California. And so I would be sitting on a commission that would be hearing these proposals. And so my job is to make sure that we are funding affordable housing projects. And I want to make sure that we're streamlining those projects so that we're not producing too much red tape for the developer, which would then make the development process very cumbersome. We want these units built as soon as possible. Now, the equity portion comes into that, making sure that we are building across the entire state of California, making sure that the urban core isn't just getting all the housing, but we got to support those that are in the suburbs and those that are in the Central Valley, those that are in the Inland Empire, where there are large African American populations, or people who have left San Diego, they left LA, they left the Bay Area, and so they are moving out and they're moving away. And we got to make sure that we're building housing as well as infrastructure, highways and freeways and the high-speed rail, to ensure that people are able to get to work as well as home.
Wow, that's an enormous responsibility. So it goes throughout the state?
Throughout the entire state.
Wow. Don't even think about touching that remote. We're going to be right back with All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris. I am your host, and my guest today is just phenomenal. She is Malia Cohn, who is the current chair of the Board of Equalization and the candidate, I want to emphasize that, the candidate for the controller of this great state of California. We will be right back.